stare. We spoke of was and when, although I wasn't there. He said I was his friend.
Hey, it's Nate, and today I am doing The Man Who Sold the World by David Bowie. Such a cool song. I'm going to be focusing on Bowie's original version, but I can't help but sneak a little bit of influence in from Nirvana's legendary cover of it since I grew up with that one. I've been having so much fun playing and singing this, and I think you will too. Let's jump in. Okay, so first off, I recommend you get the chords and lyrics chart. There's a link in the description that'll help you follow along and see where the chords and the lyrics line up with each other. And this song is mostly in the key of F, so all white keys with the B's being flat, although there are a fair amount of C sharps in the A chords, which is a note borrowed from the D harmonic minor scale. We'll start out with the intro. It's going to sound like this. So, let's do that riff first, that awesome guitar riff. The right hand can do that. Starting on this A, this is right below middle C. I'm using my third finger to play A, G, A, B flat, A, G. Now, for the timing, first off, we're in 4/4 time, so the measures get 4 counts, and this riff lasts just one measure. But we need to divide the beat into 4. So instead of just 1, 2, 3, 4, we're thinking 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 16th notes. And the timing there is going to be 1 and 2 and 3E and a 4E and. So really quick there on the A, B flat A, and a 4. So one more time. 1 and 2 and 3E and a 4 and 1 and 2 and 3E and a 4 and. And here are the underlying chords of the intro. So 6 measures, that means that riff is going to repeat 6 times. And in the left hand, we're going to voice the chords. Now, the full triads would sound muddy down here, so we're just going to do the fifths, and it sounds really nice. So for the 2 measures of A, we're just going to do A and E. For the 2 measures of D minor, we're just going to do D and A. And then for the 2 measures of F, we're going to do F and C. The beat doesn't really kick in until you get to the F chords. So for the A and the D, I'm just going to strike it once and hold through the 2 measures. So with the riff, it'll sound like... Now, when we get to the F, I'm going to do a bit more of a rhythm. You could keep it simple if the rhythm feels too tricky, but here's the rhythm I'm going to do on the F. So I'm thinking in eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I'm going to hit my 5th finger on the low note on beat 1. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So the and after 2 and 4, I'm hitting my 1st finger up on C. Now this is a rhythm pattern we're going to use in other places in the song as well on other chords, but always on fifths. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So notice how the riff connects with that. When it goes up to the C on the and after 2, that is where you step down to the G. Let me play that intro one more time and then we will cruise right into the first verse. We passed upon. Okay, so here are the chords to the verse. Now this first D minor kind of feels like it's an extension of the intro. So we're gonna just voice it like that. We're gonna hit the last note of the riff as just landing on the A at the beginning of the verse, and we're just gonna do those D fifths and just hold it for we passed upon. upon a stair. And I gotta talk about the timing here at the beginning of the verse. It's one of the more confusing things in the song. So it's 2 measures of D minor, but if you're more familiar with the original Bowie version, you're gonna want that second measure to be 2/4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2 before going to the A7. And that's because on his version, the vocals start 1 count after you hit the D minor. 1, we passed upon the stair. Now in Nirvana's version, they just did 2 full measures of the 4/4 time, and the vocals entered on the 4th count of the first measure like this. 1, 2, 3. We passed upon the stair. Which feels a little bit more normal, I guess. I'm gonna go with Bowie's timing for my version, but you can't really go wrong there. So after the D minor, we've got an A7. I'm gonna come up to my first finger for an A bass note here, and we got G, C sharp, and E. And that lasts for 2 measures. Then we're back to D minor, but since now we're kind of in the swing of the verse, I'm gonna voice a full D minor chord like this. So I'm gonna come down to a D bass note here and do A, D, and F in the right hand. And we're just back and forth between those 2 chords a few times, 2 measures each time. 2, 3, 4, spoke of was and when. 1, 2, 3, although I wasn't there. 2, 3, 4, he said I was his friend. Okay, so now we've got an F major. Now notice I'm gonna move my second finger to that F bass note. That lets our 5th finger be where we need it next. And then here's the voicing for the F major chord. We're doing A, C, and F. So it's an inversion using my second finger on the middle C there. So that lasts 2 measures. 1, 2, 3, which came as some surprise. Now to C. So putting my 5th finger on C, once again an inversion in the right. G, C, and E for 2 measures again. 1, 2, 3. I spoke into his eyes, I thought you died alone. Okay, so the timing there is a little strange. We've got a full measure of A7 followed by a measure of 2/4 time where it's just 2 more counts of the A7 before going to the D minor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Finally, down to the C at the end. Let's talk about the rhythm pattern. If you want to keep it as easy as possible, you could just do simple quarter notes in the right hand. 1, 2, and you could even just do some offbeat in the left. Something like that. I'm going to do a pattern that's a bit more syncopated to get the feel of the original. So here's the counts for that. We're needing the 8th notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and let's just practice it on the A7 chord. So the left and right are going to hit together on count 1. On count 2, the left is going to hit alone, followed immediately by the and after 2 on the right. So 1 and 2 and, okay? And then one more left, right on and 4. The and after 3 into 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So just take some time with that. And then you can speed it up a little bit. And then you can just apply it to the whole thing. Let me play and count through that whole verse. And just a reminder, that first D minor is just held out. It's sort of a carryover from the intro. And then on the A7, that is when I'm going to start that rhythm pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can think think of those last two measures of C as sort of an instrumental moment as we're getting ready to do the chorus, because the chorus then proceeds on a C. Let's look at the chorus now. Here's the chords for that. So once the chorus vocals enter, oh no, not me, it's just one measure of that C, followed by one measure of F, just like we voiced it before. Before we've got a B flat minor over D flat. So I'm going to do a D flat bass note here, and then a B flat minor in the right. B flat, D flat, and F. Really cool sounding chord here. And then it comes back to an F. And just note that the Nirvana version, they just do a D flat major. The only difference would be you can have an A flat here instead of the B flat. Slightly different color on the chords. I'm going to go with Bowie's version though. Soon I'll give you some options for a more advanced way to play this chorus, but for now, we can just continue that same playing pattern we had in the verse. Oh no, not me. We never lost control. Your face to face with the man who sold the world, which then leads into the next instrumental section. So this first instrumental interlude section is literally the same thing as the intro. So it looks like that. So that's coming off of the end of the chorus, man who sold the world. We just go right back to that riff and just holding the left hand. It's sort of a bit of a breakdown here. And then once again, you get to the F and do that pattern. I laughed and shook his hand, and then we are in the second verse. So the second verse is the exact same thing as the first verse. The lyrics are different, but the underlying structure, everything is the same, and that leads right in, yet again, to a chorus, and the second chorus is just like the first chorus. So coming out of that second chorus, once again, we go to an instrumental interlude of sorts. It looks like this. Very similar, and it starts the same way. So once again, coming out of, with the man who sold the world. So the rhythm starts on the F, but the thing that's different about this one is there are two extra measures of D minor here, and you're going to continue that pattern, that bum, 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 1, 2, and 3. Who knows? And that leads right into another chorus. So I think now would be a good time to dive into the more advanced options for the chorus. And they are totally optional. I'm talking about who knows? Not me. We never lost control. So cool. This will be a lot easier to learn if you are someone who has spent time practicing your scales, your fingerings for scales, and it's using the F major scale, which has the B flat in it. So it's essentially you're just running scales with your left hand on eighth notes. So at first we're on the C chord, running the notes from the F major scale, so with a B flat instead of B, from C to C. Really that's the C Mixolydian scale. So you're just going up, and then you're going to cross third finger at A, B flat, C, and again you're just doing eighth note, so 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then we hit the F chord and you do the same thing, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and so coming up second finger on B flat, cross third finger, step up. And for starters, I'm going to be doing the right hand rhythm that it's been doing all along in the verses, 1, 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and so for this part we're gonna do a little melody here. The right hand can keep doing that same rhythm, and the left hand's gonna do 1, 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3, 4, just back and forth between the D flat, F, and back to D flat. 1, 2 and 3, 4, and then we're right back to a measure of F. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then same thing again for this line. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. With the man who sold that's going to be going into another instrumental section. And remember, it is not the case with this third chorus, which is coming out of an instrumental section, but the first two choruses came out of a verse which ended on 2 measures of C before the chorus started. Where it switches to that scale thing is on those 2 measures of C at the end of those verses. So you're going to want to enter a little bit sooner. You know, I thought you died alone a long, long time ago. And then here's the chorus starting. Who knows? Maybe you take the hand up an octave at the start of the chorus, because that's where that piano comes in on the recording. Knows, not me. And so the one other thing I would say here is the keyboard that comes in on the recording, where we go up an octave, that is pulsing eighth notes on the recording. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and not here. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and with the man who sold the world. So you can take these different ideas and mix and match them in a chorus arrangement that feels good to you. The final thing to talk about here is the outro. The chords look like this. It is essentially the same structure as the second instrumental section. We're coming in to the riff with the left hand doing the fifths. So once again, it has the extra 2 measures of D minor at the end. But after we go around this once, that is where on the Bowie recording, the ethereal voices come in and do these high melodies. And in the Nirvana version, those melodies are played as a guitar solo. So once again, I will give you a couple of different difficulty levels to recreate that vibe. But first time around, it breaks down like it usually does, with the left hand just holding the chords, and then when you get to the F, that's when the rhythm starts. That carries through. And then the rest of the song is just repeating this, and the left hand, even when we go up to the A here, we're going to be doing that. Dun, 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2 and 3, 4. So once we get in that groove, we can kind of keep that momentum going. Starting on that second repetition through, rather than just doing the riff every measure, we're going to hit some high melody notes for that solo. So here's what that looks like. When we get to the A, the high melody note is an E, and we could play eighth notes on it, so it feels like it's sort of ringing out. Then for these 2 measures of D minor, we just return to the riff. And something I like to do is actually play the riff an octave higher here. So for the 2 measures of F here, we're going to go up to a high F. And you can play eighth notes like that. When we step to the D minor, we're going to step down to a E here. And then at some point down to a D. The E feels really tense, and then you resolve it to a D. And where exactly it steps down doesn't really matter, just feel it out. And then it loops around again to the A, so we're back to the E. And I like to just stay on the D from the end of the pattern when we get back to the A. Just get a little tension there. And then we're back to the F. But we can do a little bit more than this. Notice that all these underlying triads, the A major, the D minor, and the F major, all have the note A in them. So A is a great note to just include for a little more harmony going on. So what I'm going to do for starters is I'm going to play the top melody up here while continually with my first finger just harmonizing on an A. It sounds really nice. So from the beginning of the second line, it would look like this. So stepping down to my fourth finger there, then third. And you could leave it at that, just repeat it through a few more times and wind the song to a close. But I'm going to show you a couple other options to expand it even more. So one would be to voice the melody notes as octaves. And if you do that, you can use your second finger to play the A's. Now this is a little bit weird. Step the octaves down like that. Sounds really nice though. If you want to get a bit fancier with the left hand, rather than doing this, you can keep doing the same rhythm, 1, 2, and 3, 4, but do root, 5th, octave, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4. You could even do 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1. So from the F, with all these details in mind, it would sound like. And you could even go up to higher octaves. Let's say this is our last time through. I'm going to come down to a lower. Now, the David Bowie version just fades out. You could try to reproduce that. I'm going to do what Nirvana does, which is after going through the solo a few times. After the last time, you get to the D minor with the riff, like I just mentioned. And I'm going to do it lower here. I'm also going to, if I'm doing this, I'll probably just simplify it back to the. And then we're going to go to the F and just hit it like that. So you're going to do the F fifths and hit that A in the right hand, which is really nice voicing of an F major triad, and just let that ring out. And then the song is over. Okay, thank you for sticking with me. I am now going to do a full playthrough so you can see how all these parts fit together. I know I gave you a few different options for the chorus. I'm going to do a different way, each chorus getting progressively more tricky, but for your version, you can just pick whichever one you like and then do that for all of the choruses. Similarly, for the solos in the outro section, I'm going to cycle through all 3 levels of difficulty that I showed you just to demonstrate them all, but you can pick and choose however you like. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and click the bell so you know when I put out more videos like this one. Okay, here's my version of The Man Who Sold the World.
Upon a stair, we spoke of was and when, although I wasn't there. He said I was his friend, which came as some surprise. I spoke into his eyes. I thought you died alone. Your face to face with the man who sold the world. I laughed and shook his hand and made my way back home. Searched for foreign land. For years and years I roamed. I gazed a gazely stare at